Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News. Please remember to like this video and make sure that you are still subscribed. And I wanted to bring you in this video. Hold on, not yet for that one. So this is from a website called The Conversation, and which has a tagline: academic rigor, journalistic flair. I rather like that. The U.S. military is a bigger polluter than as many as 140 countries. Shrinking this war machine is a must. This is from June 24th, 2019. We already know this about the U.S. military. This isn't new news. We know that they pollute at a much greater rate than many other countries. They are basically the biggest consumer of fossil fuels on the planet, and probably the largest force in the world that is, procuring and ensuring our access to fossil fuels. And that is, unfortunately, their main job on this planet right now, which is rather disgusting. And that's exactly the thing that Tulsi Gabbard is talking about, that, we're not protecting ourselves. And the idea that we're going out and protecting people, or protecting countries, or protecting, people from bad people is totally bogus. We're out here trying to control resources and access to oil, and help, our allies do the same. And that's, what the U.S. military has become, is just enabling resource acquisition. The U.S. military's carbon bootprint is enormous. Like corporate supply chains, it relies upon an extensive global network of container ships, trucks, and cargo planes to supply its operations with everything from bombs to humanitarian aid, and hydrocarbon fuels. Our new study calculated the contribution of this vast infrastructure to climate change. Greenhouse gas emissions accounting usually focuses on how much energy and fuel civilians use. But recent work, including our own, shows that the U.S. military is one of the largest polluters in history. Excuse me. Consuming more liquid fuels and emitting more climate-changing gases than most medium-sized countries. If the U.S. military were a country, its fuel usage alone would make it the 47th largest emitter of greenhouse gases in the world, sitting between Peru and Portugal. In 2017, the U.S. military bought The U.S. military bought about 269,230 barrels of oil a day and emitted more than 25,000 kilotons of carbon dioxide by burning those fuels. The U.S. Air Force purchased $4.9 billion worth of fuel, and the U.S. Navy $2.8 billion, followed by the Army $947 million, and Marines $36 million. I think I read another version of this article probably a few months ago. It's no coincidence that U.S. military emissions tend to be overlooked in climate change studies. It's very difficult to get consistent data from the Pentagon and across U.S. government departments. In fact, the United States insisted on an exemption for reporting military emissions in the 1997 Kyoto Protocol. Well, that's handy. That's helpful. We don't have to worry about those. This loophole was closed by the Paris Accord, but with the Trump administration due to withdraw from the accord in 2020, this gap will return. Our study is based on data retrieved from multiple Freedom Information Act requests of the U.S. Defense Logistics Agency, the massive bureaucratic agency tasked with managing the U.S. military supply chains, including its hydrocarbon fuel purchases and distribution. Climate change has become a hot hot button topic on the campaign trail for the 2020 presidential election. Leading Democratic candidates such as Senator Elizabeth Warren and members of Congress like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are calling for major climate initiatives like the Green New Deal. For any of that to be effective, the U.S. military's carbon blueprint must be addressed in domestic policy and international climate treaties. What's the likelihood of that happening? What do you think? Elizabeth Warren says she wants to green the military, whatever that means. We need to greatly reduce the military. We need to, I've already said this millions of times. We need to bring our troops home. We need to stop regime change wars. We need to retool our economy. We need to redirect all of those resources that are going into the military, personnel and machinery, and we need to bring them home and work on a massive reorganizing or retooling of our infrastructure. That's what we need to do, and we need to stop using all these fossil fuels. I don't know what the chances of that are. Your guess is as good as mine. Lastly, in this video, climate change lawsuits are not going away. This is from Vox. More cities and children are demanding their day in court while key decisions are pending in other cases. I mean, that's good they're not going away. What kind of effect are they going to have on the whole picture, on the big picture, on the whole issue of climate change? Several climate change lawsuits against fossil fuel companies and governments are now getting their day in court. Major cases are proceeding to trial, and one suit may yield a verdict soon. Last week, attorneys delivered closing statements in People of the State of New York versus ExxonMobil Corporation over allegations the world's largest publicly traded oil company misled investors about the impact of climate regulations on its future business. So what will this mean for Exxon? I wonder. Are they going to be fined? Are they going to be what? Are they going to be nationalized? Are they going to be shut down? Is anybody going to go to jail? Or is somebody going to stand trial? Somebody going to be arrested for, lying or perjuring themselves or what? Fraud, mismanagement, blah. Meanwhile, Honolulu Mayor Kirk Caldwell announced that his city and county will sue fossil fuel companies for damages stemming from climate change, following a similar announcement from Maui County. Last month, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to stay a lawsuit filed by Baltimore against oil companies, bringing the case closer to the discovery phase where plaintiffs can request internal documents from the defendants. Well, okay. Let's request those documents. And in Canada, a group of 15 youth recently filed a new suit against the government. The case, La Rose versus Her Majesty the Queen, alleges that the Canadian government violated their rights and the rights of future children to a stable climate by enacting policies that led to greenhouse gas emissions. A similar new case is also underway that targets the government of Alaska. I mean, these could set precedent. I don't know how quickly these cases can happen and be tried and have some kind of verdict. But they could set precedent for more legal action in the future. These cases are part of a rising tide of litigation instigated by young people, local governments, cities, and states seeking to hold private companies and governments accountable for the contribution to climate change, misleading the public about it and profiting from it. Once viewed as a long-shot tactic for spurring action on climate change, several of these lawsuits have overcome attempts to dismiss them. However, many remain in uncharted legal territory that are applying existing laws in new ways. And some courts, including the Supreme Court, have voiced their skepticism about the merits of these cases. At stake is billions of dollars in liabilities for fossil fuel companies and legal precedents that could burst the dam and pave the way for even more lawsuits. So it's worth paying attention to how these climate lawsuits are proceeding. Here here are some of the bigger recent developments. Let's quickly look at some of these. Children are suing the government of Alaska for promoting fossil fuels. Last month, the Alaska Supreme Court held an appeal hearing for whether the case will proceed to trial in state court. There's another one. So there's two, actually. Sinnock versus Alaska, which are members of indigenous groups against Alaska. And the Alaska lawsuit, it echoes Juliana versus the United States in Oregon. New York sued Exxon in 2018, alleging the company misled investors. We already talked about that. And we also talked about Rex Tillerson's testimony in that case, knowing that climate change will be with us forevermore. If those aren't chilling words, I don't know what is. Climate change litigation is already a presidential campaign issue. Or people are attempting to make it an issue. People are attempting to talk about it. They bring up Kamala Harris having something to do with climate. Okay, whatever. Go away. Because she's such a big progressive. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders, of course, has the largest and most robust climate change plan of any of the candidates. Nobody's even close to him. Elizabeth Warren might be in second, but she's still very, very far away. If you're serious about climate change, and if it's your number one issue, my two biggest issues would be Medicare for all, and climate change, neck and neck. Obviously, climate change is the biggest problem, But if we have a couple of years left, it would be really nice to have some free medical care. I'm just being honest with you. Bernie Sanders wins on those. And on every single other issue, I'm just going to have to say that Bernie Sanders pretty much wins for me. And also, a recent poll came out showing that that's what everybody else in America thinks too. They all trust Bernie Sanders on every single issue. He's got so many plans out there, I can't even keep them all straight. He wants to legalize marijuana and turn the production and profit making to people that historically marijuana laws have hurt, as in he doesn't want to turn it into the elites controlling the marijuana market. He wants to turn the market over to people from poor neighborhoods and poor areas, black and brown youth and black and brown people who have predominantly been hurt by these laws. Like, why not let them profit and regain something from all of their pain and suffering? I could go on and on. He has lots of plans. Just go to Bernie Sanders' website and look them all up. And I'll talk about them too. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so at the links below. Until next time, peace.